Denosurement User Data Outputs, Part Darn 1. Keeks, Eof. Rose woke up in a strange room with walls that changed colors. She blinked, trying to remember how she got here. The last thing she recalled was hiking in the mountains, then a bright light. Rose sat. Up slowly, her head felt heavy. The air smelled sweet like flowers but different. She wore a simple white gown made of material softer than silk. A door appeared in the wall and opened without a sound. A tall figure stepped through. Rose gasped. The creature stood nearly 7 feet tall with purple skin that seemed to glow from within. It had large black eyes and 4 long arms. Hello, human. The voice echoed in her mind, though the creature did not open its mouth. I am Kira. We have brought you to our world. Rose tried to speak, but her throat felt dry. Kira approached, offering a cup with clear liquid. The liquid tasted like honey and refreshed her instantly. Why am I here? Rose asked. Kira tilted her head. Our people have watched humans for many cycles. We believe your kind has potential but needs guidance. We selected you because of your courage. Rose almost laughed. She had always considered herself ordinary, a college dropout working as a waitress in a small town. Courage was not how people described her. You are mistaken, she said. I am nothing special. Kira made a sound like wind chimes. We see deeper than surface appearances. You have strength you have not yet discovered. The next days passed quickly. Kira showed Rose around the alien city. Buildings spiraled toward the sky made of crystal that changed colors with the twin suns. The aliens called themselves the Lumari. They had amazing technology, vehicles that flew without engines, food created from light energy, harvested from thoughts. Rose learned the Lumari had watched Earth for centuries. They believed humans were on a path to destruction, but had potential to evolve. They had brought several humans to their world, but most had failed to adapt. Rose was their newest attempt. You must understand our ways, Kira explained as they walked through gardens where plants moved and sang. We need someone who can help us communicate with your leaders. I told you I am nobody important, Rose said. No one will listen to me. Kira touched her shoulder, sending a warm tingle through Rose. You underestimate yourself. You see with fresh eyes, you question what others accept. That is valuable. As weeks passed, Rose began to change. Her senses sharpened. She could feel energy flowing through the Lumari city. She learned their language not with words, but with thoughts and images. She discovered she could move small objects with her mind. Kira said this was natural, but humans had forgotten this ability. Rose met other Lumari. Each had unique abilities. Some could heal with touch, others could see possible futures. A few could even travel through dimensions. Rose found herself drawn to their council meetings, where they discussed the fate of worlds. During one meeting, Rose noticed a young Lumari named Tala who seemed to watch her with interest. Tala had skin that shimmered like pearls and eyes that changed color with her mood. After the meeting, Tala approached Rose. You are different from the other humans who came before. Tala said, her voice in Rose's mind was like music. You adapt quickly. Rose smiled slightly. I just try to understand what happened to the other humans. Tala looked away. Some could not accept our world. They became sick with longing for Earth. Others feared us. They tried to escape or even attack us. They were returned to your world with their memories altered. Will that happen to me? Rose asked. Will you send me back if I fail? That depends on you. Tala replied. But I hope you stay. You bring a new perspective. Rose spent more time with Tala in the following days. Tala taught her about Lumari history. They had evolved on a planet with high energy fields which gave them their abilities. They had explored the stars for thousands of years, observing, but rarely interfering. Earth troubles us, Tala explained. Humans have such potential yet seem determined to destroy yourselves and your world. We are young. Rose defended. Still learning. Yes, but time grows short. Tala said, showing Rose images of Earth with its pollution wars and resource depletion. The Lumari Council believes humans need guidance to survive. Rose frowned. Who are you to decide that for us? Tala looked surprised. Would you prefer we did nothing? Watch your species destroy itself. Rose had no answer. She knew Earth had problems, serious ones. But she also knew humans valued their freedom, their right to choose their own path. Even if that path was flawed, Rose began to understand her purpose here. She was not just learning about the Lumari, they were studying her human reactions, human emotions, human values. She wondered if she was failing their test by questioning their methods. That night, Rose stood on the balcony of her room looking up at unfamiliar stars. She felt a deep ache for Earth despite its flaws. She missed rain and wind, the sound of birds, the taste of real coffee, the chaos and beauty of human life. Kira found her there. "You are troubled," she observed. Rose nodded. "In trying to help us. Would you take away what makes us human? Our right to choose our own path." Even to make mistakes, Kira was silent for a long moment. "We had not considered this aspect," she admitted. Finally, "Perhaps there is wisdom in your words. We have focused on survival, not on the essence of what makes humans unique." Their conversation was interrupted by an alarm that echoed through the city. The sky lit up with flashes of light. Rose could feel fear rippling through the city, touching her mind. "What is happening?" she asked. Kira looked grim. "The Draknor. They have found us. We must go to the council chamber. Now." Rose followed Kira through corridors that pulsed with warning lights. Lumari rushed in all directions, some carrying children, others manning stations that appeared in walls. When they reached the council chamber, Rose saw screens showing a massive ship approaching the planet. "They are coming," the eldest council member said, his skin darkening with fear. "We have detected their landing craft." "Who are they?" Rose asked, turning to Kira. "The Draknor." Kira replied, "They consume worlds. They have followed our path to find new planets. Can we escape?" Rose asked. "Too late," Tala said, appearing beside them. "They have locked onto our energy signature. They can follow us anywhere." The council argued about what to do. Some wanted to use technology to hide their world. Others prepared weapons. Though advanced, the Lumari were not warriors. They valued peace above all. Rose listened, feeling strangely calm. She thought about Earth, about humans with all their flaws. Humans who had faced countless threats and survived because of one trait that perhaps the Lumari lacked. She stood walking to the center of the room. The council fell silent. EOF. Cat OMRZMNT user data, outputs, part 2. KXT. EOF, let me speak to them. Rose said, her voice steady despite her fear. The council looked at her with surprise. "Impossible," Kira replied. "They do not communicate. They only destroy." Rose met her gaze. "I understand. Outsiders, I lived as one my whole life. Humans know about conflict and resolution." "Let me try," the council whispered among themselves. Finally, the eldest member nodded. "We have nothing to lose." Rose was taken to a communication chamber. She stood on a platform surrounded by light. The image of a Draknor appeared before her. It resembled a dragon with metal skin and glowing red eyes. Rose felt fear, but pushed it aside. "I am Rose of Earth," she began. "I wish to speak with your leaders." The creature hissed, revealing sharp teeth. "Why would we speak with prey?" Rose stood taller. "I am not prey. I am a bridge between worlds. The Lumari have knowledge and resources. They seek peace, not conquest." The Draknor laughed. A weak position. Rose smiled. "Perhaps to those who only understand force. But consider this. The Lumari can hide their world in ways you cannot detect. They allowed you to find them to open dialogue. What does that tell you about their power?" The creature paused, studying her. "You speak boldly for a species we could crush." Rose nodded. "Yet here I stand, their representative. Not because I am powerful, but because I understand something you have forgotten. The strongest position comes from cooperation, not domination. The Draknor hissed. What do you propose? Human Rose thought quickly. I propose a meeting between your leaders and the Lumari Council, with me as mediator, to discuss how both species can benefit without destruction. The Draknor was silent. Then, surprisingly, it nodded. Send coordinates. For landing, the image disappeared. Rose released a breath she didn't know she was holding. Kira and Tala rushed to her side. What have you done? Tala asked, her voice trembling. You have invited them to our world. Rose turned to them. I bought us time to prepare to understand what they want, and to find a solution that doesn't involve destruction. Kira looked at her with new respect. You think like a human, seeing possibilities where we see only danger. The next hours were a blur of activity. The Lumari prepared a meeting place outside the city, a neutral zone. They gathered information about the Draknor, an ancient species who traveled from planet to planet taking resources. They were not evil in the human sense, just focused on survival at any cost. Rose prepared herself. She studied Draknor history with Tala's help. She learned they communicated through strength and respected directness. Weakness invited attack, but false bravado would be seen through instantly. She would need to be honest, yet firm. When the time came, Rose stood with the Lumari Council as the Draknor ship landed. It was massive and dark, like a mountain of metal. The ground shook as it settled. 5 Draknor emerged, each 12 feet tall with scales that reflected the sunlight. Their leader wore armor decorated with symbols Rose assumed represented victories. The Lumari stayed back only. Rose stepped forward, meeting the Draknor in the center of the field. The lead Draknor looked down at her, its red eyes burning. You are small to speak for worlds, it said. Rose looked up unafraid. Size is not everything. I represent both humans and Lumari today. Tell me why you come to this world, the Draknor leader hissed. Our world is dying. Our resources depleted. We take what we need to survive. Rose nodded. I understand survival, but taking by force creates enemies. Enemies become threats. The cycle continues until everyone loses. What if there was another way? The Draknor seemed amused. What other way? Little human trade. Rose said simply, the Lumari have technology to create resources from energy. Knowledge to restore dying worlds. They could help you. Why would they help those who threaten them? Because unlike you, they understand that helping others helps themselves, Rose replied. Destroying this world gains you resources for a short time. Teaching you to create your own resources gives you independence forever, which makes you stronger. The Draknor leader was silent, considering her words. Finally it spoke. You suggest. We trust. Rose shook her head. I suggest you verify. Trust comes later. Start small. Each side offers something of value. Each side keeps their promises. When that works, move forward. Hours passed as Rose negotiated terms. The Draknor would receive technology to create food and energy. They would share knowledge of star systems unknown to the Lumari. Neither would attack the other. A small exchange at first with clear boundaries. To the shock of the council, the Draknor agreed. They would send representatives to learn Lumari technology. The Lumari would send teachers to the Draknor ship under protection. As the meeting ended, the Draknor leader looked at Rose. You have prevented war today, it said. This is rare. Rose bowed slightly. This is just the beginning. The hard work comes now. Building trust takes time and effort on both sides. The Draknor returned to their ship. Arrangements were made for the exchange to begin the next day. When they were gone, the Lumari Council surrounded Rose. You have done the, impossible, Kira said. You have made peace with the Draknor. Rose shook her head. I only did what humans do best, adapt and connect. Your people and the Draknor both see the universe through one lens. I offered a different perspective. That night, Rose could not sleep. Her mind filled with doubts. Had she made the right choice? Could the Draknor be trusted? What if this failed? Would both species blame her? The weight of two civilizations rested on her shoulders. She walked to the garden seeking peace. Among the singing plants, Tala found her there. "You should be celebrating," Tala said. "You are a hero." Rose looked up at the stars. "I just hope I haven't made things worse." Tala sat beside her. "That is why you succeeded today. Your doubt makes you careful. Your fear makes you wise." The Draknor respected that. They see too many who are either fearful and weak or arrogant and foolish. You were neither. Rose smiled slightly. "Thank you, but this is just the beginning. The hard part comes now. Making this work." Tala touched her hand gently. "You will not do it alone. You have proved your value to both Lumari and Draknor. They will listen to you." Now Rose wondered if that was true. She was just one human, ordinary in so many ways. Yet here she was, negotiating peace between alien species. Perhaps the Lumari were right. Perhaps humans did have potential they had not yet discovered. The next day, Rose watched as Draknor representatives entered the city. They moved with careful precision, studying everything. Their presence caused fear among the Lumari, who had only known them as enemies. Rose walked beside the Draknor ambassador, a female named Vex, explaining Lumari customs and technology. Vex listened with interest, occasionally asking questions that showed a sharp intelligence. "Your species is surprising," Vex said to Rose. "You have no natural defenses, no significant strength, yet you stand between powers and speak with authority. How have you survived?" Rose smiled. "We adapt, we learn, we work together when we must, and we never give up. Those are our strengths." The exchange began slowly. Lumari teachers demonstrating energy technology, Draknor sharing star maps, both sides watchful, suspicious. But as days passed, the tension began to ease. Small moments of connection happened. A Draknor engineer showing a Lumari child how their ship engines worked. A Lumari healer treating a Draknor's injury. Rose watched it all with growing hope. Perhaps this could work. Perhaps different species could find common ground, despite histories of conflict, despite fears, despite different ways of seeing the universe. EOF. Cat, MNT, user data, outputs, part 3.txt. EOF. 1 month after the Draknor arrival, Rose sat in a council meeting listening as Kira reported on the exchange progress. The technology transfer was working. The Draknor had already implemented the first stage of energy creation on their ship. Lumari scientists had returned from the Draknor vessel with valuable data about space travel. But there were problems. Some Lumari still feared and mistrusted the Draknor. Some Draknor felt the technology was being shared too slowly. Both sides kept secrets. The peace is fragile. Kira concluded, "We must be careful." Rose listened, thinking, it was not enough to start peace. They needed to strengthen it. Give both sides reasons to maintain it. She spoke up. "We need more than technology exchange, we need cultural understanding. The Draknor and Lumari need to see each other as people, not just allies of convenience." The council looked skeptical. "How do you suggest we do this one?" asked. Rose smiled. "I suggest a celebration. A sharing of food, music, art, stories of both worlds. Something to help each side see the other as more than enemies or allies, but as people with history and culture." The council discussed the idea. Some thought it foolish, others dangerous. But eventually they agreed Rose would organize an event of cultural exchange. Rose went to Vex with the proposal. The Draknor ambassador looked amused. "You think sharing songs will create peace? It isn't about songs," Rose explained. "It's about seeing each other as real. Understanding what each values, what each fears, what each hopes for." Vex considered this. Draknor do not share easily, but perhaps this is why we have always been alone. "I will speak with my people." To Rose's surprise, both Lumari and Draknor embraced the idea. They began preparing food music demonstrations of their skills. It seemed both species needed something beyond survival. A chance to show their achievements, their beauty, their pride. The day of the celebration came. The Lumari created an open space between the city and the Draknor ship. They set up areas for food, music, art, and stories. Rose watched as both species arrived. Cautious at first, standing in separate groups. But as the celebration continued, the groups began to mingle. Lumari, crystal singers performed, creating music that seemed to come from the air itself. Draknor responded with deep rhythmic drumming that vibrated through the ground. Children were the first to truly cross boundaries. Lumari children fascinated by Draknor. Strength Draknor. Young ones enchanted by Lumari light tricks. Rose moved between groups, encouraging conversation. She introduced artists to artists, warriors to warriors. Scientists shared discoveries. Historians compared legends, each finding reflections of themselves in the other. Tala found Rose watching as a Draknor taught a group of Lumari, a game involving strategy and quick reflexes. "You have created something important here," Tala said. Rose shook her head. "They created it themselves, they just needed permission to see each other differently." As night fell, lanterns were lit, food was shared, stories were told. Rose found herself sitting between Kira and Vex as an elder. Lumari told the story of their first space journey, the dangers they faced, the wonders they discovered, the lessons they learned. When the Lumari finished, a Draknor elder stepped forward. "I will share the tale of the Great Migration," he said. His voice rumbled like distant thunder. He told of how the Draknor homeworld died, how they survived by moving from planet to planet, how they fought and struggled and endured. Rose listened, seeing the story from both sides. To the Lumari, it was a tale of conquest. To the Draknor, it was survival. But both could recognize the courage, the determination, the will to continue. As the celebration ended, Rose felt hope truly take root. She watched Lumari and Draknor leaders speaking together without translators, planning future exchanges, discussing possibilities. Understanding was growing. Vex approached Rose. "You have wisdom beyond your species," she said. "We have conquered 100 worlds but never tried to understand them. Perhaps that was our mistake." Rose smiled. "It isn't too late to change, to find a new path." Vex nodded. Perhaps then she looked at Rose with intensity. "Your people, they are like you?" Rose laughed. "No, I am very ordinary. Many humans are smarter, stronger, braver. Then your species is truly formidable." Vex said, "I look forward to meeting more of you." Rose felt a chill. Though the words were friendly, something in Vex's tone worried her. She realized the Draknor now saw humans as interesting, potentially useful, and the Lumari had already shown interest in Earth. This cultural exchange had revealed humans to two powerful species. Was she opening Earth to new dangers? She pushed the thought away. The alliance was young. Trust was still growing. She would deal with that concern later. For now, she would celebrate this small victory. The next weeks brought more progress. Draknor and Lumari worked together on joint projects, sharing knowledge, solving problems that had stumped each individually. The Draknor ship no longer seemed threatening, but a place of opportunity. Lumari visited freely. Draknor came to the city without guards. Rose found herself with more free time. She continued her studies of both cultures but also explored her own changing abilities. The Lumari environment had awakened something in her. She could sense emotions across distances, share memories, through touch, move objects with her mind. Abilities Kira said were natural to humans but forgotten. One day Kira found Rose practicing moving stones with her thoughts. "You have progressed quickly." Kira noted. Rose smiled. "It feels natural now, like remembering something long forgotten." Kira sat beside her. "The council wishes to speak with you. They have a proposal." Rose followed Kira to the council chamber. The elders waited in a semicircle, their expressions serious. "Rose of Earth," the lead elder began, "you have done what we believed impossible. You have brought peace between ancient enemies. You have shown wisdom beyond your years. We wish to offer you a permanent position. Ambassador, not just between Lumari and Draknor, but eventually between us and Earth." Rose felt surprise. Earth doesn't even know you exist, she said. They are not ready. The elder nodded. That is true now, but the time approaches when contact will be necessary. Your world faces challenges that may destroy it. Climate change, resource depletion, conflict. We can help, but only if your leaders will listen. We believe they will listen to you. Rose felt the weight of the offer. To become a bridge between worlds, to help Earth face its challenges with advanced knowledge, but also to change Earth's path forever. To bring it into a larger community with all the benefits and dangers that entailed. I need time to consider this, she said. The council agreed. But time grows short for your world, the elder reminded her. The path to destruction grows steeper. Each cycle Rose left the chamber, her mind spinning with possibilities. Tala waited outside. They have offered you the ambassadorship, Tala said. It was not a question. Rose nodded. How did you know? Tala smiled. It was always the plan. From the moment we brought you here, we needed someone who could understand both worlds. Someone Earth would trust. Rose felt a flash of anger. So I was manipulated. All along, no, Tala said gently. You were chosen for potential. But you exceeded all expectations. No one predicted. The Draknor. You changed our plans in ways we could not imagine. Rose wasn't sure if she felt better or worse knowing this. Was she making free choices, or playing a role designed for her? That night she stood again on her balcony looking at the stars, thinking of Earth. It seemed so far away now, not just in distance but in understanding. She had changed, her perspective widened, her abilities grown. Could she go back to being just Rose the waitress? Even if she wanted to EOF, create dying file description, creating part 4 of the story. Path, home, Claude, story, parts, part 4, MD. File my text. Morning brought urgent news. Royal Security Chief Virax stood before Talia, her face grim. Majesty, there has been a breach. The Earth files have been accessed. Talia felt cold fear. Was anything taken? The security chief nodded. All reports from your time on Earth, including surveillance images of you and the human ambassador Zoran. Talia said immediately. We have no proof, Majesty. Virax replied, carefully, but access codes from the military council were used. Talia paced her chamber. This was dangerous. She had known her time on Earth would eventually become public, but she had hoped to control how and when the Empire was not yet ready to. See how close she had grown to May, how much she had embraced human culture. Summon Ambassador May, she ordered, and alert Chancellor Lorix. We must prepare for what comes. May arrived quickly. Concern clear on her human features, the Earth diplomat had learned to read Zenithan expressions well enough to see Talia's worry. There's been a security breach, Talia explained. The reports of our time on Earth have been stolen. May understood immediately. Zoran, it seems likely. What will he do with them? May asked. Talia moved to her private communication terminal. If I know my brother, he will wait for the perfect moment. Then he will use them to question my loyalty, to claim I have been influenced by humans, corrupted by your ways. May stood tall despite being dwarfed by the Zenithan Queen. Then we must act first. Your Majesty, Chancellor. Lorix arrived, his ancient purple face showing deep concern. He had served the royal family for decades, and his loyalty to the crown remained unquestioned. My queen, he bowed. We face a delicate situation. I know, old friend, Talia said. The reports will show I learned human ways, that I lived as one of them, that I formed bonds, that you came to care for them. Lorix added, his eyes moving briefly to May. More specifically for one of them. Talia did not deny it. What do you advise? Lorix straightened his ceremonial robes. Tell the story yourself, Your Majesty. Before others can twist it, control the narrative, address the Empire. Talia said slowly. The Chancellor nodded. A direct message. To all 12 systems. Explain your time on Earth as a diplomatic mission. Emphasize what you learned about human culture and how it benefits our Empire. And my relationship with humans. May asked quietly. With me. Lorax looked at the human diplomat, his expression softening. We cannot hide what exists, Ambassador, but perhaps we can help others understand it. That evening, Talia prepared to address her empire. She wore formal royal regalia but chose to include a small earth pin on her collar, a gift from May. Special transmission equipment had been set up to broadcast to all Zenithan worlds simultaneously. As she waited for the signal to begin, Talia felt oddly calm. The path forward was clear. She would speak truth and let her people decide. Broadcast began. Talia's purple face appeared on millions of screens across 12 systems, people of the Zenithan Empire. She began. My father, King Lorak, believed in understanding those different from ourselves. To further peace with Earth, I undertook a special mission. I lived among humans, learned their ways, experienced their world firsthand. She spoke for nearly an hour describing Earth, its beauty, its challenges, the strength and creativity of humans. She explained how understanding humans had made her a better ruler, better able to forge lasting peace between their worlds. What I did not expect, she continued, looking directly into the camera, was how this mission would change me, how it would open my eyes to new possibilities, not just between our empires, but between individuals. At that moment, the broadcast signal flickered. New images appeared on screens across the empire. Images of Talia in human disguise walking Earth streets. Images of her and May together, their hands touching their bodies close in ways that suggested deep personal connection. A voice cut in Zoran's voice. Is this your queen, Zenithans? One who hides among aliens, who embraces their ways, who forms inappropriate bonds with a human ambassador. The signal returned to Talia, her face now hard with anger. Yes, brother, she said, her voice steady. That is your queen, one who seeks to understand, not fear. One who builds bridges, not walls. The broadcast ended. Talia's final image, a defiant stare directly into the camera. Reports came quickly from across the empire. Reactions varied widely. Younger Zenithans particularly, those in the arts and sciences, expressed support. Older military families voiced outrage. Religious leaders called for prayer and reflection. Ordinary citizens seemed confused, uncertain what to think of a queen who had lived as a human. In the royal palace, Talia called an emergency council meeting. Security forces were placed on high alert. Reports suggested Zoran had gone into hiding, likely gathering supporters. For a challenge, Majesty Chancellor Lorik said we should prepare for civil unrest. Some military garrisons have failed to confirm loyalty. May stood with Earth security officers nearby. Her presence at the council meeting had been questioned by some, but Talia insisted. What is the Earth Alliance's position? Ambassador Lorix asked. May stepped forward. The alliance stands with Queen Talia. We recognize her legitimate rule and reject any attempt to use her diplomatic mission to Earth as grounds for removing her from power. But privately, May asked Talia what Earth should do if fighting broke out. If Zoran attempts to seize power, will Earth intervene? She asked. Talia looked out at the palace grounds where additional guards now patrolled. Earth must remain neutral in any internal conflict, but you can secure the embassy, protect your people. And you May asked quietly, what about you, Talia? Touched the human's cheek, briefly. I am Zenithan Queen. I will face whatever comes. 3/10 days passed. The palace remained secure, but reports came of military units moving without authorization. Some orbital defense platforms stopped responding to royal commands. Zoran released more images of Talia's time on Earth, carefully edited, to suggest she had abandoned Zenithan values. On the fourth day, Chancellor Lorix brought unexpected news. The Royal Academy students. The human exchange students request an audience. Talia received them in the small council chamber. 5 young humans stood nervously before her, their Earth clothes contrasting with the Zenithan architecture. Your Majesty, a young human woman named Lisa spoke. We have a proposal. Their idea was simple but powerful. The human students would broadcast their own message describing their experiences with Zenithan culture, what they had learned, what they admired. They would stand with Talia, publicly showing that understanding between species made both stronger, not weaker. It's not just about you and Ambassador Melissa explained, it's about all of us humans and Xenothans learning from each other. Talia studied the young humans. Their courage impressed her. They risked becoming targets in a political conflict not their own. You understand the danger? She asked. Lisa nodded. We do, but we believe in what you're trying to build here. Their broadcast went out the next day. 5 human students speaking in carefully practiced Xenothan, alongside 5 young Xenothan nobles who had studied on Earth. Together they spoke of friendship, of knowledge, exchanged of barriers overcome. We are not the same one, Xenothan student said. We remain proud of our differences, but we are stronger together than apart. The broadcast reached military bases, merchant vessels, outer colonies, images of humans and Xenothans. Working, studying, and creating together, students explaining complex ideas across species boundaries. Moments of cultural exchange, music, art, food. It ended with a simple message in both languages. Peace requires understanding. Understanding requires. Experience reports came throughout the day. Public opinion began to shift military units previously wavering. Renewed oaths to the crown. Civilian protests against human influence dwindled as younger Xenothans organized counter-demonstrations supporting the Queen that evening. As Talia reviewed security reports, May entered her chamber. The human ambassador looked hopeful. The Earth students' broadcast is having an effect. She said the Alliance intelligence suggests support for Zoran is weakening. Talia nodded. The youngest generation understands what we are trying to build. They see possibilities, not threats. May moved closer. Is it enough? Talia touched the earth pin on her collar, a symbol of everything she had learned, everything she hoped to create. None can say, but hope is stronger today than yesterday. Create file description. Creating part 5 of the story. Path. Home. Claude. Story. Parts. Part 5. MD. File. Text. 3 cycles of the twin moons passed without word from Zoran. Security forces searched, but found no trace of the royal brother. Some believed he had left the system, others that he hid among supporters. Talia maintained increased security, but returned to regular royal duties. The education exchange expanded. More human students arrived. More Xenothan youth traveled to Earth trade agreements. Deepened cultural programs brought human artists to perform in Xenothan cities. The changes came slowly, but steadily. May remained as Earth ambassador. Their official relationship remained proper and diplomatic, but rumors persisted of deeper connection. Private moments away from public view. Shared understanding that transcended species. Then came the Festival of Lights, an ancient Xenothan celebration. Talia invited the human delegation to attend the sacred ceremony in the Temple of Ancestors, the First in Xenothan history. Religious leaders objected, but Talia overruled them. We honor our past by building our future. She told them. The night of the festival, the great temple glowed with thousands of crystal lamps. The ceiling opened to the stars. As Xenothan priests chanted ancient songs, human guests watched in respectful silence. May stood near Talia wearing special ceremonial robes designed to honor both cultures. As the high priest raised the sacred flame, Talia felt rather than heard. A disturbance at the temple entrance. Royal guards moved suddenly alert. Communicators buzzed with urgent messages. Then he appeared, Zoran flanked by armed supporters wearing military insignia. He strode down the central aisle of the temple. His royal robes torn, replaced by battle armor. Guards moved to protect Talia, but she raised her hand, stopping them. Violence in the sacred temple was forbidden by ancient law, brother. She said, her voice carrying across the suddenly silent space. You return at an interesting moment. Zoran stopped before the altar, his eyes cold. You disgrace our ancestors by bringing aliens to sacred ground. I honor our ancestors by building peace. Talia replied. Zoran laughed, bitter and sharp. Peace. You speak of peace while surrendering our values, our traditions, our very identity. He turned to address the gathered Xenothans. Look at your queen, wrapped in human influence, corrupted by alien ways. He pointed at May. She gives more loyalty to this human then to her own, kind. The temple remained silent. Zenithan nobles looked uncomfortable. Human guests stood frozen, uncertain. Religious leaders watched with grave expressions. Talia stepped forward, her full height towering over her brother. I have walked 2 worlds, Zoran. I have seen beyond our borders, beyond our traditions. I found not weakness but strength, not corruption but wisdom. You found a human lover. Zoran spat the words. Talia did not flinch. I found understanding between different minds, different hearts, different worlds. She looked around the temple, meeting the eyes of her people. The Zenithan way has always been to conquer, to dominate. Father knew this path would eventually fail. He sent me to Earth not just to study humans, but to learn new possibilities. And what did you learn? Sister Talia smiled. That difference brings strength. That understanding creates peace. That love. She paused, looking at May. That love transcends boundaries. A murmur ran through the temple. Zoran sensed the mood shifting, drew his. Ceremonial blade guards tensed, but Talia again signaled them to hold. The ancient laws are clear. Talia said, any challenge to the crown must be settled by the challenger and ruler. Alone, Zoran smiled cruelly, raising his blade. Then let us settle this. Sister, you and your human ways against true Zenithan tradition. The sacred circle formed as priests moved ceremonial lamps. Guards and guests stepped back, creating space for the royal duel. May tried to protest, but Chancellor Lorix held her back. Ritual words were spoken. Blade against blade will truth be found. Blood will show the worthy crown. Zoran attacked immediately, his military training evident in every movement. His blade flickered in the temple lights as he pressed forward with aggressive strikes. Talia defended carefully, her movements controlled, deliberate. She had trained since childhood in royal combat but had never faced her brother directly. You fight like a human, Zoran taunted. Defensive, weak. Talia did not respond. She watched. His patterns, his rhythms. The traditional Zenithan fighting style favored direct, powerful attacks, overwhelming force. She had indeed learned something different on Earth. Patience. May had taught her during quiet moments together. Human martial arts, focused on using an opponent's strength against them. Finding balance. Using minimum force for maximum effect. Zoran pressed harder, his attacks growing wilder, more desperate. Each strike met Talia's blade, never finding flesh. The fight continued longer than anyone expected. Zenithans watched with growing respect. Humans held their breath. Then Talia saw her moment. As Zoran lunged, she stepped aside, redirecting his momentum. His balance faltered. A human technique applied with Zenithan strength. Her blade found its mark. Zoran's armor split. His purple blood spilled on ancient stone. The temple fell silent. Zoran knelt, wounded but alive. Talia stood over him, blade ready for the killing stroke. That tradition demanded, do it, Sister Zoran said through gritted teeth. Show them you are still Zenithan enough to follow our ways. Talia looked at her brother, at the gathered nobles, at the human delegation, at May, whose eyes showed both fear and hope. I am queen, she said loudly. I make new traditions. She lowered her blade. I spare my brother's life, not from weakness but from strength. The strength to choose a different path. Gasps echoed through the temple. No ruler had ever spared a challenger. The ancient laws expected blood priests looked to ancient texts. Religious leaders whispered urgently. The high priest finally stepped forward. The challenge is met, he declared. The queen stands. The law is satisfied. Guards took Zoran away, his supporters quickly surrendering without their leader. The festival resumed, but something had changed. The humans no longer stood apart from the ceremony but were welcomed into it. Zenithans explained rituals, shared sacred stories. Later, as the twin moons rose high, Talia found a quiet moment with May in the temple. Garden crystal flowers glowed around them, casting soft light on their faces. You changed tradition today, May said. Talia smiled. One small change. A beginning. Your brother may try again. Perhaps, but he will find fewer supporters now. They have seen something, knew a strength they did not expect. May looked up at the stars visible through the garden dome. So many worlds, so many differences to bridge. Talia followed her gaze. We have time. The work of generations begins with single moments. Will you stay, May? Asked softly. When your assignment ends, when Earth sends a new ambassador. Talia took the human's hands in her larger purple ones. I believe we have created a unique diplomatic situation, one requiring ongoing personal attention. May smiled understanding. I believe you may be right. Your Majesty Chancellor Lorix found them there together. The old Zenithan looked tired but satisfied. Majesty, he bowed formal yet warm. The council awaits your orders regarding Prince Zoran. Tell them we will discuss his fate tomorrow, Talia said. Tonight we finish the festival. The Chancellor nodded. His eyes moved between the Queen and the human ambassador. Something new grows here, he said. His ancient face showed not disapproval but wonder. Something neither fully Zenithan nor fully human, but perhaps better than either alone. He bowed again and departed. Leaving them beneath the stars, years would pass. Challenges would come. Treaties would be written and rewritten. Cultural exchanges would expand and deepen. Zoran would eventually find a place as a diplomatic envoy to distant worlds far from Earth. His perspectives changed by defeat and time. Young Zenithans would study human ways. Young humans would learn Zenithan traditions. But in that moment in the garden, with twin moons above and crystal flowers glowing around them, two beings from different worlds looked at each other and saw not alien features but familiar souls. The king's daughter had indeed kept her human secret. But now that secret had become something else entirely. A beginning, a bridge. A promise. You changed everything, May said. Talia shook her head, silver hair catching the moonlight. No, we changed everything together. Above them stars shined, countless worlds waiting, possibilities beyond imagination. Two different hands remained joined beneath the Zenithan moons, their fingers entwined purple against pale pink, a small gesture, a revolution, a future neither could have imagined alone.